Israel bombs Syria to block Turkey as a US NATO ally fumes over the latest escalation. Bibi's last gamble before the polls backfires as Washington and Ankara turn up the pressure on Israel. With election pressure mounting on Bibi, is Syria becoming his last roll of the dice? Netanyahu's political survival gamble deepens as Israel strikes Syria while election heat rises. Syria becomes a new Israel-Turkey battlefield as 8 Israeli strikes threaten to fuel another regional war. Israel said it targeted a potential Turkish military buildup at al-Duhur Airbase in Syria, citing concerns over a possible deployment. Israel carried out 8 strikes on the Idlib base on August 18, damaging its runway and several storage facilities. The strikes were reportedly aimed at preventing Turkish troops from deploying to the Syrian airbase amid rising tensions between Ankara and Tel Aviv. The Israeli Prime Minister's office said a Turkish deployment would have violated the existing security status quo around the Syrian facility. Turkey denied having troops at the base and accused Israel of using what it called false claims to justify the strikes. Turkey also condemned the attack as a violation of Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity, warning against further Israeli military action. Turkish Foreign Ministry said, and I quote, "We strongly condemn the airstrikes carried out by Israel. We call on the international community to adopt a more resolute stance in order to bring an end to Israel's aggression against Syria, and to ensure accountability for these actions, which disregard international law." Unquote. The U.S. Syria envoy called the Israeli strikes an unnecessary escalation that could further threaten stability across the region. Tom Barak said, and I quote, "We are deeply concerned that the confirmed Israeli airstrikes on Abu al-Duhur airbase constitute an unnecessary escalation that does not advance regional stability. The al-Shara government has neither adopted a predatory posture nor maintained proxy forces. It has, in fact, repeatedly indicated a preference for de-escalation with Israel. The United States has in the past, and will continue in the future, to host discussions to encourage diplomatic cadence over kinetic frustration for both nations. Enduring de-escalation agreements are built through sustained dialogues with all concerned nations and principles. The United States continues to believe that restraint and engagement offer the more constructive course. We encourage all parties to prioritize logical discourse over further military incidents." Syria condemned the attack as unjustified aggression, and warned that the strikes threatened regional security and stability. Abu al-Duhur had been out of service as a dedicated military base since rebel forces seized control of the facility in 2013. Syria had been rebuilding military facilities after the 2024 offensive that toppled Bashar al-Assad and reshaped the country's security landscape. In a big twist, Syria has disclosed an undeclared site containing nuclear material, raising fresh questions. The UN nuclear watchdog revealed that tons of nuclear material were found at the previously undeclared site. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi warned the material could be put to bad use if it is not properly safeguarded. The nuclear material dates back to the era of Syria's former president Bashar al-Assad, adding to the mystery. Syria's foreign minister said the material is not currently considered dangerous, despite the serious discovery. Damascus said the material will remain under Syrian custody, while IAEA safeguards remain in place.
Syria confirms, based on technical evaluations, that this material does not pose any danger and it will remain in Syria's custody and will remain subject to the agency's guarantee system.
IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi also visited Deir Ezzor, the Syrian site bombed by Israel back in 2007. The UN body had long suspected that a secret nuclear facility was being constructed at the Deir Ezzor site. The watchdog said uranium particles were found at the Deir Ezzor location during an inspection in 2024. Damascus says it wants to work with the IAEA to safely store and secure the newly disclosed nuclear material. Syria also claimed it retains the right to develop nuclear energy for peaceful purposes under international safeguards. The material will remain under international oversight as Syrian and IAEA experts work together on its safe handling.
Yesterday, Dr. Grossi stopped at Deir Ezzor to be the first Director General in the history of the agency to enter this site after 18 years of its closure. The new Syrian state has been granted access to it with an initiative and a political decision. This is a turning point in the path of the new regime that will pave the way for Syria's transparency and strengthen its role in supporting stability. What happened to Kathmandu yesterday is now under the light of our free will. Ladies and gentlemen, on July 17th, we sent an official message to the agency to announce our free will for the presence of nuclear weapons in an unannounced site within the legacy left by the current regime. We called on the agency to identify the site and obtain access to it. We provided its team with access and protection requirements. This morning, the Director General and the agency team visited the site and collected the necessary samples. Transparency is our personal choice, and we are convinced that it should not be filled in accordance with our international partners' agreement in the framework of cooperation that strengthens the national effort and supports it. Syria confirms, based on technical assessments, that these materials are not a threat and that they will remain in the Syrian National Covenant and subject to the agency's guarantees. It also confirms its legal and political right to civilian and non-governmental use of nuclear weapons, in accordance with its national interests and international obligations. Syria is fully committed to its right to use nuclear energy in a peaceful manner, in medicine to cure our patients, in food and agriculture to revive our land, in scientific research for our universities, and in the generation of electricity as an essential support for our economic recovery and construction of a new system that fulfills the aspirations of building our country and its prosperity. In parallel, Syria is committed to cooperating with its partners to form an international support group to strengthen its peaceful nuclear path and develop its national capabilities. We invite our partners to join this effort and support it.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.